Hello, Montessorians. Thank you so much for joining us for another live coaching call. We do this every Thursday. It's 10:30 a.m. Pacific, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. We had a few small technical issues today, so we're a few minutes late. But I think that's the first time we've been late ever. So I think we deserve one, don't we? We're live on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, thanks so much for being here. Just so you know, if you come to the coaching call directly through Zoom, you have the opportunity to interface with us live, ask questions, hang out, have fun, do whatever you got to do. Joining me today is one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, Elizabeth Wachter. Did I say your last name right, by the way? Do I get it? Did I do it?
Yeah, it's close to.
As close as I'm going to get. And Elizabeth is a digital marketer certified partner. She's one of our strategists over at Solutions 8. She works with a lot of the Montessori campaigns. And today, she's going to talk to us about one of my favorite topics, which is email marketing. Elizabeth, thanks for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be here. Like, it's the second part basically about email marketing. We already talked about this before, like with Danny. And I had a presentation back then, and now like the plan is that I just like give a short recap from that, like just some basics, and then we go into the questions which were interesting for Montessorians. Like Danny mentioned them, she said that they come up quite often.
That's great. Let's do it. I'm going to let you drive if you don't mind. Do you want to share your screen so we get the presentation up?
Yes, I just have to figure out here one moment. Where do I share the screen? Could you guide me on that?
Yeah, there's a little green arrow at the bottom.
Here. It's very straightforward. There you go.
No problem. I know this one's new.
You can see that?
I've got it.
So, whoops. There we go. Yeah, that's just our starting page here. Email marketing for Montessori schools. Let's get going. So yeah, first, like I said, let's have a short recap about last time, because it is quite a while ago. So I think it does make sense to just dive in and have a little recap. What's important about email marketing, what like to think about, and it's not just about sending out some emails and just, well, spamming people, which we of course don't want to do, but there is like more to it. And then the questions we want to cover then as main part is like how many emails to send per week without sending too many, or also per month. And then tags, triggers, and automations in MailChimp, because mostly we are using MailChimp, for our Montessori schools. How to segment subscribers, that's like in terms of tags will be needed for that. And then how to automate. That's why we need triggers, and ultimately these lead to automations. So let's get through it. Let's go to the short recap.
Can I pause you just real quick, Elizabeth, because I want you to speak to something that we just discovered this morning, which is MailChimp changed its free version.
Yeah. We will also
Montessori schools.
I think, definitely I have this tied in at the end.
Okay, well then ignore me. You take it and run with it. I didn't realize it was on the slide. Forgive me.
No, that's absolutely fine, and it's a burning issue for us. We have to definitely talk about that and find an alternative. But we will get to it.
Cool.
Okay, and always interrupt me if you have questions, or if anybody else has questions. Maybe.
Yeah, if you have questions and you're on the live call, you can always chat your questions in, and then I will field them. And Elizabeth, I'll ping you if somebody asks something.
Okay. So facts about email marketing. This is what we talked about last time. Just the most interesting one I left here. One moment. Let me remove that. That's a bit. Oops. And we have a chat, I think.
Oh, I just let everybody know they can put their.
Okay.
That was me.
Email marketing yields an average of 4,300% of return on investment for businesses in the United States. Now, okay, it's like business related, but at the end, I think this is quite quite an astounding effect. It's just important to think about that. As Montessori school, we also have to think about the business side of things, right? So it is something that is used and people work with it a lot. So, and this one I found especially interesting. I said that last time already, Email is the channel that is generating the highest ROI, return on investment for marketers. Now, for marketers, right? And we all know as marketers, we have it really hard in that industry because, yeah, people are like not too prone too much about like marketers. Let's say it's a hard for a niche or industry, let's say. So, but the fact that email is the channel generating the highest ROI for marketers, I mean, that tells us something. So you can only imagine how it is for any other industry if it is that good for marketers. You know what I mean, Castle?
Yeah, I think what you're saying is that the marketing industry specifically is so heavily diluted because we ruin everything that if it's still functioning this well for professional marketers, then it should be even more successful in a space like Montessori that isn't quite as burned yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I'm trying to say. Because these people who you have on your email list, I mean, they raised their hand. They said, yes, I want to know more from you. And so, yeah, it's absolutely fine to do that for them as well.
And Heidi just asked a great question. I love this one. She said, yes, but part of the ROI calculation is that email is so cheap, correct?
Well, but you do also have to like bring into calculation, and I hope they did it for this one, how we generated these leads. It's not just that they just like jump in, we just got the emails or something. So still okay, how we get them is then at the end, like maybe through social media, or we were like driving traffic to our page
Mm-hmm.
and had a lead magnet that we were offering, like our gated tuition fee, for example.
Yeah, that's a
So
good point. And I mean, even to that point, I think Heidi is right in that it's cheaper to capture somebody's email than it is to capture their, their phone number or get them to come in for a tour or whatever it is. So even if you're running paid advertising to capture email addresses, you're going to spend much less than if we were running, what we would call a lead generation campaign.
mm-hmm.
And then Heidi said it would be nice to see total number of students enrolled for each media. I could not agree more. We have one school right now that's doing a really good job of tracking. And someday I'll talk them into doing a coaching call with us. They've been a little shy so far. But they're one of our beta schools on our HubSpot CRM that we're about to roll out for all Montessori schools. And the idea there would be that inside of this CRM, you're able to tag every single contact record with its source. So these people came from email, these people came from Google, these people came, walked in referrals, etc. And then over time, we can segment by referral source and start to see who's coming from what referral source, which referral source is most efficient, and then hopefully on some level, and it won't be perfect, obviously, but be able to calculate an ROI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think also that would be really great if we could like calculate that. Here for this one, I mean, yeah, it's not about students, it's like for marketers, so this wouldn't apply. So yeah, and here are some other like interesting facts, which I was thinking are like, yeah, quite important to think about in terms of email marketing. Just think about that like checking emails is like a complementary activity. People are doing it all the time while watching TV, while standing in line somewhere, or yeah, even in the evening, right before they're falling asleep, like so, or even on a vacation. So it's like really a great thing to catch their attention and to make them like read about you. So I think this is like quite interesting, like to see. Then using the word donate in your subject line can actually reduce open rate by 50% or more. That was like MailChimp who published that. And yeah, I found that just interesting just because of it somewhat relates to our niche. And a study of 1 billion emails revealed that video emails see a click-through rate of 96% higher than non-video emails. Now, that's just interesting in terms of like content, when like you ever think what content would be good or engaging for the people who get my emails. Yeah, video just, I mean, it just makes sense, right? Video is just so much more engaging.
Well, and on that note, we're actually building an email series right now for our members that includes parent education videos. So we have a Montessorian, she's one of our members, and she's creating these really quick, we're calling it the Montessori Minute. and she's creating these really quick 2 or 3 minute videos that answer questions. You know, why multi-age classrooms? Why do we call our guides and not teachers? And they're meant to kind of help you nurture parents, help answer questions, kind of act as an FAQ section, but then also help you engage with parents via email. And to this statistic, which is amazing, Elizabeth, that's unreal. I'm glad you pulled that out. That's the type of media that you could take from Nito's library and push out to your members and help make sure that you're keeping your engagement high.
Yeah, or you can record videos yourself, right? I mean, I saw that many schools have a YouTube channel where they have like short videos.
Yep.
And like a short school tour or something. I think that could be like just great, so that people can just envision themselves how the school would look like, and how their little children, how their toddler or their kid will spend the time there and will go around, that it like looks nice and what they can do there. So just seeing things, right? Like people want to imagine things. So I think from that point of view, like, yeah, videos are just great. So the next point, nonprofits lose about $15,000 per year in donations due to spam filters blocking fundraising campaign emails from prospects' inboxes. Yeah, I just added that in here just as an information. So that we have to like definitely think about that, but I don't want to like, how to say, fearmonger, because I don't think that this is gonna be happening like often to us or something. It's just an interesting information, and I think this happened probably because they didn't use the best internet service providers or mail senders. I think MailChimp is pretty good in these terms. MailChimp, they're really catching up on that, right? They don't just let you send emails to anybody. They don't even let you just upload a list where it's like questionable where you would have it from.
Yeah, their deliverability rates are great.
Yeah, so there's no fear about that. I just found it like interesting. And here it's more about like, yeah, the general role of email marketing, right? It has so many hats basically, so much what you can cover with it. Branding, traffic, engagement, direct sales, referral, reactivation, retention, and acquisition. And I was thinking what for Montessorians, for Montessori schools, could be important is definitely branding, establishing our school as a strong authority, like in terms of education, Montessori education, of course, and also engaging the parents, like with information and updates, of course. And retention, like keeping our members informed, like, okay, it's like the same as like engagement. So you keep them informed, so you keep them connected with your brand, I mean, with your school, which, yeah, you can say it's a brand, right? I mean, you have a logo and so on. So you keep them informed about what's happening, and they want to also then maybe stay in touch and be connected with you and maybe even participate or become a parent volunteer. But we should also keep in mind that acquisition or direct sales can be an interesting part of email marketing. Maybe you have like special offers, like for the summer camp or something. Or if you have a list where these are not parents of children who are part of your school. So you say, hey, we have an open house, so that you can participate. Then another thing which I was thinking could be nice as well is referrals. I personally think, I mean, that you want to also maybe connect in your local community. Maybe you're working together with somebody in the community, like, yeah, like I wrote here, local lunch delivery, for example. Or maybe a local carpenter with whom you're working together, right? Who has his children in your school as well. Or that's not even necessary, just somebody in the community who is like, with whom you're working together. And you can like give a shout out. Maybe you got like also donations for that. And I think this like sort of strengthens the ties in the community as well. Yeah, does that make sense, Carson?
Yeah, well, I absolutely agree. Both my children go to Montessori school, and they partnered with a local lunch company, and they've done a really good job at tying it into just Montessori thinking. And, you know, they explain certain things like why the packaging is the way it is. So the children are placed in a position where they have to sort of, you know, work for themselves, and the way the cleaning happens. And so they've taken something that you would look at as relatively benign, and then they've connected it to teaching, to the Montessori method, which I thought was brilliant. I also love what you said earlier about direct sales, and then maybe even referrals. I think one of the mistakes we make in email marketing is you think of email marketing as you talking to, you know, a few hundred people, and then you speak to them that way, almost like you're behind a pulpit or something. And the people that are really successful at email marketing are the people that look at it as though I'm talking to you. And everything you have outlined here, Elizabeth, I think is really good, and speaks to that sort of approach. So one of the ways that we can change our email approach is to just begin thinking about it as, you know, have a parent in mind. Think about your ideal parent, and then just write an email to them. You know, and you can include first names. So it'd be like, hey, Elizabeth, just want to let you know that, bam. And like you said, if we're doing stuff with, you know, a local company or community or whatever, that's a really good way to start making people feel like they're involved, because that's what you're supposed to be, relationship building. And so many of our schools are complaining about the fact that parents, you know, they're not engaged, or they're not coming to my morning coffee thing, or, you know, we're having a hard time getting them to the events. Well, this is the way people engage now. So this is where the community exists, and this is the opportunity to kind of have those conversations. And I went off on a tangent. Sorry. I agree, I guess, is a short version.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, you're behind it, right? Because I mean, you have the same experience, and I think it just only makes sense. Like, also, if you work together with like local businesses in your community, like you strengthen your ties with them, they strengthen their ties with yours, and sort of you develop a relationship, and you're then also stronger in the community. They probably will also then promote you to others. They will speak about you to their friends and family. And this is how it goes. And it's just also, how to say, just a nice feeling, just also to support the community, to support like businesses in your community.
Absolutely.
So give back to the community, right? That's what I always think is a nice concept. Yeah, and in terms of email marketing, like I said, it's at the beginning, it's not just, okay, we just send out now emails and sort of come up with stuff. We have actually like a journey here to go through, to get people through it. So, and the journey steps are like becoming aware of you, then engaging with you online. I try to like break it down to our concept, of course, of Montessori schools. So you engage online, then you subscribe, and then you engage offline. That would be then the school tour. Then you convert, you advocate, and you promote, ideally, right? So yeah, for example, you see like a parent sees an ad or finds your website through Google search in their local area, or just through Google search, or yeah, whatever options there are. Maybe even like Facebook, you can also search in Facebook. More and more people do that as well. They browse through your website and they consume your content. So basically they're engaging with you online. So they read about you. They just want to know a bit more about you. Now the next step is like subscribing, then ideally that we have an opt-in for a lead magnet, so that they receive value in exchange for their email address. We use often the tuition fee tuition fee PDF for that, right? We have also others with which others are we using, Kasim?
We have a dozen white papers in the members area, but there's like a guide to touring a Montessori school, questions that you should ask, 6 reasons why Montessori will work for your children. Anything that a parent would be interested in taking with them, you're sort of trading them for their email address.
Yeah, and something like really specific, something that really specifically feels a need for them right now. So, and then, well, yeah, then you have their email, and ideally then the next step is that you send them like emails and you engage them through the emails, so that they then book a school tour and learn how your service works. And then they sign up for one of your programs and they get real value from you, and they start saying nice things about you. And then become an active promoter, like really, and promote you to all their friends and to everybody. And I've seen so many nice reviews. I think it's just normal. I think it's a matter of time. If somebody sends their children to Montessori school, I think probably almost every parent becomes a fan of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, this is another way that you can sort of help people do that. I think oftentimes people need to be told what to say about certain things. For instance, one of the videos that we created in the parent education courses, I guess they're not really courses, but the parent education videos is we created a video that teaches parents how to tell other parents what Montessori is. Because right now, like if somebody came to me as a Montessori parent and said, what is Montessori specifically? I don't have that soundbite. I don't have that elevator pitch. And that's not good. Because if you want me to be an advocate for your school, on some levels, you have to equip me to be able to say, you know, Montessori is education based off of the scientific method. And I forgot exactly how the video went. But telling people how to best advocate for you, and you might not want to come right out and say, hey, if you want to advocate for us, but I think that you can slowly indoctrinate them into, you know, certain levels of understanding that will equip them to better speak on your behalf.
Okay, and I see time-wise, we should be a little bit faster because this is actually just a repetition from last time, so I will try it a bit faster. I wasn't aware of that. So the three types of emails we usually have is transactional emails, that's like order confirmation purchases, relational emails, that's like new subscriber emails, that's very important for us, or when we deliver this value item, which we just talked about, the lead magnet as we call it, or like, yeah, the tuition fee chart. Then promotional emails, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. This is just like, so we know we have the three types of emails. I think this is quite helpful in ways of like thinking about what kind of email do I want to write, just to get sort of a structure. And we have two send types, which is send type in terms of like, do you send them right now manually to everybody, which is broadcast. This is the category where newsletters fall into, or promotions. And the next one is like automations. This is triggered emails like new subscriber welcome, registration confirmation, and so on. So, and this is really like creating what's really important, I think, or really helpful in terms of email marketing, or in terms of like everything, is just creating your promotional calendar and really mapping out everything, what you want to, like, what you have to keep in mind. So 12 months, I mean, yeah, you might think it's a long time, but I think it can be pretty useful. You can like map out, okay, Christmas time, of course, right? We have probably some special Christmas events in the school or something. Then holiday season, like you have to keep in mind the holiday season when it's like going slower, when you have more time to focus on planning the next year. And what do you do then with your emails? Like also in the holiday season, summer, you have summer camps, right? So you can also plan this in. So if your summer camps, for example, start in June or take place in July, you don't want to just send the emails the same day. You want to send it 1 month in advance, right? Maybe even you have it so planned that you even promote it 2 months in advance or something, right? Depending on what are your preferences.
Well, to your point, Elizabeth, I think that you can plan your content based off of what your admission goals are. So if you're getting closer to admission season and you're still not where you want to be, you have time. You know, you could give yourself a 90-day pad and say, okay, if I'm not at this threshold, then I'm going to do this thing. And once we reach this threshold, then we're going to do that thing. And that saves you from having to get to, you know, we're a month out and we still haven't filled up all of our classrooms.
Yeah, precisely. That's another very, very, very good point. And also in terms of content, I know that patient was also here on a call in office hours with Danine, and they were talking about the content planning. Well, then you can also put this together, right? You plan your content. Now, the same way as you plan your content, you can bring this together with planning the email marketing, because if you publish new content, you can also say, hey, we send this as a broadcast as well. I mean, it doesn't just have to be promotions, obviously. You can promote, you can also send promote, okay, it's a promotion again, but you can also send your new content which you have on your blog.
Absolutely.
So this goes really well together, just with everything, like, okay. Yeah, this, I think here I want to glance through it quickly because we really have some things to cover, which was the main part supposed to be. So the like email campaigns for Montessori schools that make sense are like triggered emails, which is the welcome email sequence. So we mentioned that many times. And broadcast, of course, the newsletter makes sense, right? Broadcast is one email which you send to everybody on your list, most likely. Yeah, what is another option then is a broadcast which triggers a list of emails. So for example, you say, are you interested in knowing more about our summer camps? Hey, press here. If, excuse me, if, for example, you have a list of emails, you think that you want to tell them more about your summer camps, you have a bit more to talk about, and you don't want to just send all these emails to everybody. So you send one broadcast and you say, hey, are you interested in it? People then click a button in there or a link and they get tagged and automatically subscribed to another triggered email sequence, which informs them about it. So, okay, we went through this. Now, here are the question, yeah, to cover for this week. It's like a bit more technical. So first, how many emails to send per week without sending too many? I mean, okay, that's not the technical part, but the tags, triggers, and automations in MailChimp is a little bit more. It's like about how to use the tool, basically. So how many emails to send per week and month without sending too many? Let's, for example, talk about triggered emails. Triggered emails, remember, right? These are the emails which get sent out automatically. And for example, we have created a template of 8 emails for that purpose, which is our welcome nurture sequence. And of course, these emails do not have to all be sent within 1 week because like it goes like every day you're sending one. You can also like take a break in between. But I would not take like a longer break than 2 days in between because it could maybe break up the sequence. Sort of that it's a bit confusing that then like 3 days later you get like now a follow-up. But I mean, you have to also experiment with it, but every day could be maybe a little bit fast to send it. And broadcasts, in terms of broadcasts, I think that is probably the most interesting, right? Like your school's newsletter. And well, it depends. It depends on your school's promotional calendar and on your school calendar. Again, it goes really back to the calendar. What's planned? Like, do we have holidays coming up? Do we have special events? Does the next school year start soon and I have 3 spots to be filled up? Did we have events in the past I want to share with my list? So yeah, it goes back to the calendar. If you really map it out in your calendar, then I think you don't have to think about it, like, because you have it mapped out in your calendar. Like, what would you think, Castle?
I agree. I think that I prioritize the emails that come from my kid's school for this exact reason. I want to know what's going on. And to your point about frequency, I think that you need to acclimate people to hearing from you. What you don't want to have happen is people don't want to be surprised. So if I open up the email on my phone and then I look at what somebody sent me and I'm not used to hearing from them, that's an interruption to my day. And that on some levels, even if it's somebody that you like, it can be received negatively, even if it's subconscious, because now people have to process information they're not generally used to processing. But if you can get them into a regular cadence to where they're just expecting to hear from you, and when they see an email from you that it's not a surprise, now as long as you're providing really valuable information, they're looking forward to it. I look forward to what my school or my children's school sends me. They do a really good job because they'll actually send me individual emails that have images of my son, which just make my day. You know, I get to see him doing, I forgot the last one. I think it was him holding a picture of a turkey he drew or whatever.
Oh, that's really nice.
Well, and it's brilliant because it means I'm going to open up their broadcast emails too, you know, because there's no difference. It all just says from like Montessori school, but now I'm paying even more attention. And so if you can intermingle those personal emails in, I think that's even better.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it takes us a bit more time to make it so personalized, but I mean, still, it's just amazing. And I'm pretty sure there are like good ways what you can do. Like, If maybe you can't upload them all into the email, maybe you can like add them into a Google Drive folder, like the photos from the specific children. So from Mr. Aslam, this is his folder, and then you send a link to this folder if you have not the time, or if you cannot upload it all into the email.
Man, that is so smart, Elizabeth, what you just said. I never even thought about that. But if you were to create a Google Drive folder for each family, and instead of having to go through the headache of sending them individual images, you could actually have that link as one of the include files in their email contact record. And then you could just say, hey, more images of your son or daughter here, check them out.
Yeah, look, hey, they were all here on the summer camp. We have now more photos to follow up, right?
That's
Here,
really brilliant. Yeah, that just made, because you're right, sharing individual photos is really hard, especially for smaller schools that don't have the resources. But what you just did was streamline that entire process. That's super sharp. That deserves to be a coaching call all by itself. That should be a course.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I think this can be so beneficial. I mean, I would definitely also look at that. I mean, that's just cool, right? If you have the link, you can always also look into it.
Yeah, well, and you're building this library of photos of your child, which people can reference or share with grandma or whatever. Yeah, I think that's a real intelligent use of free technology too. Good job.
And but let's get a little bit more specific. Like, what do statistics then actually say about it, right? Because now we just talked about, well, yeah, it all depends on your promotion and calendar. So, well, statistics are saying, like, according to Direct Marketing Association's email marketing report, 54% of companies were sending emails 1 to 3 times a month. That's really not a lot. And 30% sent emails like 4 to 8 times a month. So I think that's pretty, that's not intrusive at all, I would say. Not at all. So that means the majority of the companies are sending at least 1 to 2 emails a week, which, yeah, seems to match up with like what subscribers are expecting as well. So if, for example, there's another survey, I have here also the studies in there. If anybody wants to read more, we can also share this presentation, and you can read on that if you want. They say that most subscribers said they would rather receive emails at least once a week or once a month. So not too much. I mean, once a month is already borderline, I would say. And why? Because yeah, we will get here to this, but I would just mention it now because, I mean, what if they forget about you? I mean, in 1 month, there is a good chance, right? You sign up and then 1 month later you get an email. It's like, oh, did I even sign up for them?
Yeah.
Don't remember, unsubscribe, right? So
that's especially true for the email nurturers. If you wait too long between email nurturers, because they generally tell a story, they're tied together. If I don't remember what email number 1 said, then email number 2 is going to be a fraction of the value. So you have to make sure they're close enough to where it's like, oh yeah, you were telling me about this, and now we're going to continue that story.
Yeah, exactly. You're telling a story. But I think sometimes if you, for example, mention some content, you say, hey, here, I want to send you some value today. And this is one part of it is this piece of content. And tomorrow you send another piece of content. I think it makes sense to maybe afterwards give them a briefer and say, hey, I leave you now. I leave you alone now for 1 day, or 2 days is borderline, but so that you can digest this information.
Yep.
And not to pump you with too much stuff at the same time. So, and yeah, many subscribers seem to appreciate that. And I mean, that's not surprisingly, right? Because you avoid, of course, email tiredness, that people get overwhelmed with too many emails. I think we all have experienced that at some point. And you have also more time to craft your emails, of course. So that gives you also a good buffer. But then again, do not send too little emails. Otherwise, you risk that missing important opportunities like promoting the summer camp activities or a new program opening, for example. So if you say, hey, if you have like a strict guideline, you say, no, I only send 1 email per week to them. But then you restrict yourself because you already send it for this week, but you have this promotion coming up and it would make sense to send another one, for example. So I think it's not a problem then to send another email, even if you usually set for yourself just 1 per week. And yeah, email subscribers forget about you. And then your emails can potentially get marked as spam if you don't send any emails for more than a month, right? That's really what happens when somebody signed up for something and then 1 month later you get an email and you can't remember it. I mean, some people do that. They mark you as spam then. So do we have any questions for this one?
I'm just gonna.
Yeah, right here.
Can we dive briefly, Elizabeth, into the MailChimp issue? I know that's at this end of the deck, but I don't know that we're going to get there.
Yeah, okay. Like I just have here a text, like, can we quickly like touch on the text? I can like browse through it just so that we get the gist of it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so just what are tags? Here's just like how they look like. Basically, yeah, you're tagging, you're segmenting your people. So when you have a list here like this, as you can see, like these both are blue, like, okay, shop sales, that's just an example, or conference leads. So they are, this one, for example, is in the same two segments, like tagged twice as this one. So this is just a way for yourself to structure it, to bring structure in so you know who is in which program then in your case. And here, okay, it goes like into how to create and add tags in MailChimp, and it's pretty straightforward. You just go to your contact table and contacts profile, and from the text page, and then you have here on top, you have the option after you selected the ones which you want to tag, you have the option here to add a tag. That's pretty straightforward. And you can also just create a new one, create a new tag. And yeah, how many emails, oops, okay, that's changed a bit. If you create a landing page with a sign up form, here are different ways how you can tag them. Another one is also you can create a tag through a landing page, like they land on a landing page with a sign up form, and then they can also get a tag there and be segmented. Or when you import contacts, you can also tag these as well. So it always depends on your audience size, which method you will be using, but most likely for Montessorians, I think the audience size in most cases won't be as large, so you can do it manually from the list. You probably know most of the parents on this list anyways. Mm. And how you view, one moment, I think I went too fast, how to view filtered contacts, pretty straightforward. Here, yeah, you could just go again into the filters list. This information can all be found on MailChimp. It's pretty straightforward. I can also share this presentation if anybody wants to read up on that again. Yeah, and the automation triggers, like why do we need them? First of all, to make it easier for us so emails get automated and automatically sent out. Now, one of these triggers is the welcome sequence. And the welcome sequence, that's when somebody signs up new on your page, like either for the lead magnet or maybe like maybe you have something else where they're signing up with their email and you add them to this welcome nurture sequence, like new people. Then they get the indoctrination sequence, as we call it. And it's 8 emails. Now in MailChimp, we used MailChimp for this always, and it worked seamlessly. And for many of our customers, like I mean, many of our Montessori schools, it still like works. But somebody who signs up with a new account can only now create 1 email sequence, meaning the automation is that you can only create, yeah, you can only receive 1 email and not 8 anymore. That changed now in the free plan.
And just a note on that, we need to find another piece of software to recommend to Montessori schools because that's a pretty critical functionality. And we don't have anything yet. So to our members who are watching this, we're still researching. We're still trying to figure out how to pivot. MailChimp just sort of ripped the rug out from under us without much warning. So stay tuned because we'll be coming back with other tools to use that are free and still allow for that functionality. MailChimp is still great. I'm actually still a huge fan. But now you have to pay. And if you're not in a position to do that, then we'll go try to see if there are email tools that offer the same functionality for free.
And yeah, just so that everybody knows, it is $15 for this functionality. Like the lowest plan is $15 per month to get this functionality back. There's another plan in between, but it doesn't cover that, unfortunately.
And how many contacts does the $15 plan cover?
I think it is 500 as well. Let me check.
It's so funny. They had a free automation for 2,000 contacts, and then now they started charging, and they made it for less. It just seems like such an odd pivot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really a pity with the automation sequence that this is not included anymore.
Yeah.
What does it say? No, it's actually no, for this one it's 100,000 contacts.
Okay.
But 5 audiences. But the thing is that what's new now, what some complain about is that they also count these which are unsubscribed.
Yeah, I read that in that article that we were going over this morning.
Yeah, and I mean that's not a problem that much in the United States. You could just potentially delete these unsubscribers, right? Unless, well, yeah, I mean they get also counted, if I understood correctly, if they unsubscribe from one email sequence and they are still active on another one. So do they then get counted twice? That's then the question.
Elizabeth, this is a stupid question and maybe deserves just a separate private conversation, but could we have one MailChimp subscription for all Neato customers? So if Neato went and paid for that $300 a month premium plan, we're allowed 200,000 contacts and unlimited audiences. And I know we can customize the footer, and I think you have unlimited outbound email addresses. Couldn't we just set up all the automations in one account?
I think this will be a bit conflicting because we only have the option to enter one email address as sent from.
Oh, for some reason I thought we had, maybe that was the old version too, but for some reason I thought we had as many as we wanted.
I mean, maybe you can send that, but then I'm not sure how it would be if somebody replies to that email, where it will go to. If that can always be changed. But yeah, we should definitely like research that. Maybe that would be an option.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to school on that because that might be a good fix.
Yeah, and yeah, we already had a few, right? A few where we were looking into that could have been a nice option, like email octopus it was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we are looking further. There must be something. There are so many email service providers, and of course, we're looking also for the ones which are very, very usable, like similar to MailChimp, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, here it is. It's a screenshot where I like realized that today that basically, yeah, you can send a single welcome email and then you have to upgrade if you want to send more, if you want to set up more of them. So yeah.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Awesome. Any questions from our live attendees? Questions, comments, concerns, or confessions? Go ahead and chat them into Zoom webinar. We'll give you a minute just in case there's something coming. And we ran long, but I think that's good. I think it's good to get, I mean, we have something that's this meaty from a topical perspective. I think it's good to give it that time. So thanks for doing that, Elizabeth. That was a lot of work.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, email marketing is really, it's great. I love it.
Yeah, well, and there's so much to it too. You know, I mean, it really is an art. For if anybody doesn't know, our 3rd and 4th plane members receive our content package, which includes one email newsletter that's written for you every single week. And they're pretty cool because they refer to some of the content that's already been created, and then they have some placeholder areas for you to insert things like, you know, oh, we have a new hire, there's a new event, or anything. So if you're having a hard time coming up with email newsletters, that's a good product to go look at. Which is the Montessori content package. And we write one blog for every week, one email newsletter for every week, and then one social post for every school day. And so basically your entire content schedule is written for you, and then you get to download it and customize it and use it to your heart's content. And it doesn't look like we have any questions, so I think we're good to go.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. It was my pleasure. And if we again shall follow up on that or on what you just suggested in terms of the links for the folders for parents to see photos of their children, I think we can definitely find some good ideas for that as well. And this is something to include as well into the content planning or email marketing then, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that should be another coaching call. We should build that template and then present it to schools on how they can do that.
All right. Sounds good.
Awesome. Great job, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Oh, we'll see you all next Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for coming to our coaching call.
Bye.
Bye.